Yesterday was an amazing day. I had the pleasure of actually sharing my wisdom, being a faculty lecturer, part of the McGill students for the residents to help them take care of their health and as well being better physicians. And I had an amazing question that I think you would be interested in. So somebody came to me after my lecture and asked me, okay, as a dietitian of being in the business for 18 years, what do you feel about prescribing in a certain way caloric restriction to help your patients, to help your clients? And I was like, you know what? Amazing question. And because it was so amazing, I decided to share my insight with you today to help you better understand what you should do, what is aligned and what is not aligned to help you reach your goals. My name is Dina. I'm a body balance coach, and it is really my mission to create breakthroughs for all my clients by creating an aligned health plan so they're able to get results on their own terms while eating their favorite foods and still feel great in their body. So the future physician came to ask me regarding caloric restrictions because I'm going to be very transparent with you today. I'm going to share with you some amazing studies done on humans and on rats for you to better understand what it entails. So when we talk about caloric restriction, we're talking about anything that is below what your body needs of calories. So usually we're talking about something below 1,500 calories. So in rats, we have seen studies that when they do caloric restriction on them, that they bring down their inflammation response, they bring down the oxidation, so their cells end up being used less because there's less food and less calories and less work happening. So that is totally true. The less food you put in your body, the less work it has to do. I am not going to go against that. But did you know, and this they don't talk about it in research, as soon as you take a human or you take out a rat out of that kind of like research setting of restriction and put them back in the outside world, you know what it leads to. And this happens for humans, it happens with the rats, it happened in all the researches, but nobody talks about. Anytime you go through a starvation, through a restriction, let it be physical or emotional, it leads to disordered eating. It leads to continued restriction. It leads to binge eating. So they've seen the animals and even the humans. I'm going to tell you about another interesting study that was done on humans, the one and only, because now it's not ethical to do that. So we do the test on animals. So it was shown that even in animals, when they went through a restrictive plan, restrictive lifestyle, when they're in their cage, and then we give them the abundance of food, they all became overeaters. Because you put your system, you put your body in a famine state. And when the body goes through a famine state physically and mentally, as soon as there's food available, we tend to end up eating everything inside. Now, you might be telling me, well, Dina, these are rats. They're not able to logically understand that they're doing this for their well-being. Let me show you a study that they did. It's called the Minnesota Starvation Study that they did in 1944. They took less than 40 men, healthy, mentally, physically healthy men, to better understand what starvation causes on the body. So they did a 12-week trial of eating normally, everything was okay, and then they put them on a 6-month restrictive. Okay. They fed them 1,600 calories during that restrictive month. So you might be telling me 1,600 calories. That's nothing because most diets now, most restrictions that we talk about is 1,200 and less. So they put them on 1,600 calories for 6 months and then 20 weeks of rehabilitation in a certain way. And this is the mind-boggling thing. That is a study that shows it, and we keep talking about it, and we keep seeing it, but more in the animal research, is that as soon as people went through a restrictive pattern of 1,600 calories, they saw some of those habits, those behaviors of anorexia pop. People were thinking about food, collecting recipes, hiding food. They kept thinking about it. They end up putting their life on hold because they're in that starvation mode, okay? And this is a fascinating thing. The researchers thought, okay, this is only related to that restrictive period. As soon as they go in the refeeding period in a certain way, they're going to be back on track. Now remember, all these men were mentally healthy, were physically healthy, no issue. They saw in the 20 weeks that they did the study of refeeding that a lot of people were still not comfortable with food. Some people were still restricting and like hoarding food. And some people started binge eating. They started binge eating up to 8 months after the starvation period. So physically, their body was going back. There was no more starvation. They were fed properly. They reached back their healthy weight that they had before the study. But emotionally and mentally, they got scarred from that starvation period. So these are healthy men that got scarred for life, for this study, because of a restriction of 1,600 calories per day for 6 months. So when we look at certain studies talking about caloric restriction and keto and paleo and everything, how it shows some benefits, but when we talk that 97.5% of people that go on a diet end up getting off track, I'm not going to say failing, they actually get off track because their body was starving, their body physically and emotionally was starving, and they find themselves always on that dieting roller coaster, is because doing any type of restriction for research, for well-being, for diabetes, for binge eating, any type of restriction that you do physically where your body feels like it's in a famine state and emotionally you are going through a starvation state, it will lead to disordered eating. And the more dieting that you do, the harder it is to get out of that cycle. It becomes a vicious cycle from the restriction to the binge eating, to the restriction to the binge eating. So what I want to leave, and that's what I left the physicians with yesterday, the future physicians, future doctors, I was like, it's all about creating that balance right now where you're not starving, where you're not full, you're always in that happy medium to let your body do its work, to let your body do its best. This is why dieting does not work. That's why dieting, and I'm going to keep this for a future video, dieting actually is a trauma. It's a trauma that you are imposing on yourself every single day, a physical trauma of starvation, an emotional trauma of starvation and guilt and all that. Every single day you're giving yourself that trauma that makes it tired, makes you more tired, more exhausted, your metabolism getting affected, you might be gaining weight. And this is not about going and keep doing the same thing. You want to heal your relationship with food. You want to get off the dieting roller coaster, because as long as you have any type of starvation, physical or emotional, you'll always find yourself resorting to those foods, losing control, feeling guilty, and then go to the cycle of the yo-yo dieting happens. Now, what they also showed in the study is that with proper therapy and proper progress, people were able to get back on track, to find that happiness, be good with food and not be binge eating. There is that. But if you keep thinking that restriction is going to be the cure to cure whatever you're looking for, dieting is actually going to be the cause of all the struggles you're going to be having. So don't take my word for it. All the studies are showing that. And the one human study that we have, which is in 1944, is really down to the detail explaining everything. So if you want to know more about it, just message me right below. I would love to chat more about it. I can do another training about it to explain to you the whole process. And remember, these are healthy men that were eating 1,600 calories a day and no intense exercise. And they developed disordered eating when they went to the refeeding syndrome. So think about that. And even rats, we've seen it. When they start eating after, they end up eating everything in sight. So we are human. As soon as you're in a starvation mode, you will go in that compulsion, overeating, overstressed, overthinking mode. This is why diets don't work. Study shows it. Research shows it. That's what I shared yesterday at McGill University for all the students. Dieting just makes everything worse. So we need to get the body out of that starvation mode, realign ourselves, our body and mind and our soul, be aligned, be happy. And this is when the body is at its best and it just releases everything it no longer needs. So if ever you feel this is resonating with you, or you feel anybody else would benefit from this, save this video, share it to someone. Sometimes when I love a video, I share it to myself like that. I have it in Messenger or in my email. So make sure you keep this, because this is the golden nugget. This is the true thing that no one is talking about, because people want to keep you in the dieting roller coaster, so you keep buying from them. You want to find that plan that makes you aligned, that is no dieting, no restriction, and helps you get out of this roller coaster you've been in maybe for a year, 10 years, 20 years. Your body has a phenomenal way of healing, your brain as well. You just need to get out of that dieting roller coaster. So on that note, if you have any other questions, comment right below. If you enjoyed this, give me a hey right below. I'm really loving connecting and giving all these like truth bombs, because I believe the more that you know what's happening, the more you're going to be able to make a better decision to make this year your best year. So on that note, my name is Dina Marabi. I'm a body balance coach, and I'm here giving you as much info as possible to transform your life. And if you are loving this, if you're resonating with me, if you love what I'm sharing, send me a private message. If you are done doing things on your own, or you feel like you're always following a gimmick after the other, I am taking a few one-on-one clients, premium coaching. It's me, you, taking over the world, taking over the dieting world, and I'm able to help you heal that relationship. I'm able to get your body out of that starvation mode. I'm able to help you boost your energy. I'm able to help, build a fitness plan that's made for you, because as I'm a clinical dietitian, I'm a nutritional therapist, I'm a yoga instructor, I'm an NLP coach. I am so many things under one hat, and I can give you that premium coaching to help you get results and maintain the results as we're working together. So if this is something that's resonating with you, send me a message. Send me a private message. Let's take a chat. If there ever is anything else, you know how to reach me. So on that, again, have a beautiful and a balanced day, and I'll see you in the next training.